Right, and welcome to my wildlife year, week 28. I'm sitting here in the garden. It's a lovely evening, and it's the end of the week. I've recorded everything. I'm not sure how long this has been going to be because I've not really been tallying up. I know I've recorded a few things, and it was a really exciting week because I went through to my dad's and I took my moth trap with me, and caught something really exciting in it. Well, it was exciting for me. You might already know if you follow me on social media, I couldn't keep this to myself. I've already blurted out the big secret on social media. But if you haven't watched the video and find out what it is, come on, join me for my wildlife year, week 28. Right, so there's a little toad. Normally toads walk and they only hop to get away, whereas frogs hop most of the time, so we'll just pop it back in there. It can go and stay in there. Hopefully this is going to fill up again very soon, and I'll be able to remove the big plank and just weigh down the wee one with a stone at that end just to hold it in place so that anything that goes in can fall out, as I say. It can climb out, as I say. But the soil's settling a bit here, so I've got to shore it up again in the next couple of days, and then let it settle and just keep doing that until it's nicely settled in, and hopefully as it fills up with water, that'll also sort of help the pond like way down the liner and get it settled right into the right place. Right, through in Hamilton visit my dad, and I've decided to bring my moth trap with me. It's means operated, but underneath that plastic box there I've got a battery and an inverter which allows me to run the trap without having to run a lead all the way into the house here. So interesting to see what I get through sort of like more west coast, Scotland, close to the west coast, and down the rural southeast borders, sort of in a urban area further west in Scotland in the central belt. Might get something a bit different. Wait and see. I wasn't sure whether I was going to get much in the moth trap, but judging by the amount I've just seen flying about, and I've actually, even as I took the light out, a couple flew off. So it looks like I've got a few in here. I've also got one in the handle and some under here. Well, there was 4 micromoths up underneath three underneath the thing and one in the handle underneath the rim. I managed to get 3 out of the 4. One flew away, but I think 3 out of 4 is not bad, to kind of paraphrase Meatloaf slightly. So I'll empty the trap in a minute. Right, I'm emptying the moth trap. I've got quite a few already. Those are all the macro moths and these are the micro moths. And that one there, I don't know what it is. I recognise it. I've never had it before, but I recognise it from the books. I just can't remember what it's called. So I've got at least one new species for me. So I've emptied the trap, and there are all empty ones over here, but here it's all macro moths in the tray. So we've got 18 small tubs, and as you can see there's a big tub which has a poplar hawk moth in it, and also 9 smaller ones. A couple in here, I'm not sure whether they're really small micro moths or whether they're really small macro moths or whether they're big micro moths. Well, I've done a count of all my moths and I've got 16 species in total. I think 5 is the most I've got of any particular one, but you know, that's a good tally, especially for quite an urban area like this. So I'm really chuffed, and here's just some of the highlights. This is quite a delicate moth. We had it last week. It's called the Ribbon's Wave, and it's a very nice one indeed. And what it looks like underneath. This is another one that we had last week. This is the Willow Beauty, and I can tell it's a Willow Beauty because it's just fallen off there, and now it's not going to let me see. There's a little light square just at the corner of the thing there. Let's just see if I can. Nope, he's not wanting to play. Ah, there we go. You see the little square just there at the tip of the wing. That tells me it's a Willow Beauty. Now here I've got 5 of these guys. These are large yellow underwings. They're quite variable. The colours can be quite variable, and some bits are darker than others and that, but they all sort of like have these dark bits just down here, and they're also very big. I mean, that's my thumb. My thumb's not exactly small, it's pretty sizable. And another one that we had last week is the poplar hawk moth. So a real gorgeous moth, just nice and big and chunky. And the last 2 I'm really pleased with. This one is very small and it's right up the top, so you can't see it very well. It's called Straw Dot, and I'm actually going to take, oh no, it's moving around now. Is it going to settle? Yes, there it is. It's a Straw Dot. It's quite a small one, and it's a first for me, so I'm really chuffed to have this one. So Straw Dot was the first one, but it's not my only first. There is this absolutely beauty. Oh, yeah, it's the Buff Arches, and it is amazing. I mean, just look at it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, oh, I think I've got another moth to add to my favourites. This is just, oops, sorry, you've fallen over. It is just absolutely wonderful. Oh. Right, so I'm not going to keep them any longer. So I'm going to empty all my traps, all my tubs, and let them all go. And I'm really pleased I brought my moth trap through to Hamilton. I'm just releasing the Buff Arches. It really is a beautiful moth. So I'll just pop it in there. There it goes into the hedgerow. Here we go. There's a lovely poplar hawk moth. Remember the Buff Arches that I said was a first for me, and it was a gorgeous moth? Well, it wasn't the only first. It was also the first record of Buff Arches in Lanarkshire. When I checked online on the NBN Atlas, there didn't seem to be very many records at all for Scotland, but certainly none in this area. So I contacted the Vice County Recorder for the area, for Lanarkshire, which is VC 77. That's Vice County 77. Richard Weddell, who I already knew, I've worked with in the past, and I dropped him a line saying, not waiting for my records to get to you through the normal channel, here's a Buff Arches. Don't know whether it's a sort of like you've got any other records for the Vice County, and he came back this morning saying no, he hasn't. So this is where Vice County Recorders really come into their own. A lot of species groups such as butterflies, moths and mammals have Vice County Recorders that they verify all the records that come in for their area, but also they can be contacted and you can run queries past them such as this, and they can either confirm that yes, you've got what you think, or no, they haven't, or if it's a first for the area. So I'm really excited, and so is my dad as well. It's in his garden, the first Buff Arches moth recorded in Lanarkshire. was in this very garden. How's about that? I've still got the bat in care, and as you can see, it's growing up and feeding well. So hopefully going to be releasing shortly. Just need to get back and check it's okay with solids and give it a few test flights. Right, it's sunny, I've got my net, got my tubs, I'm going to try and catch some pollinators. Let's see if we can catch some bees and some wasps. Of course, I saw plenty in the wing. Now I've actually got my net out, they've all disappeared. There's one in there. See if I can catch it. Right, keep moving the net back and forth and hopefully catch it. In fact, it's actually there. I don't know whether you can see it. I'm going to pop in a tub now. This one has a ginger thorax and white tail, which makes it a tree bumblebee, so I'm not going to keep it around in this jar for long because it'll get hot in the sun, so off it goes. There it goes. Is that the same? Is that a tree bumblebee? Let's see. Right, and there it is in there, you can hear it buzzing about. Let's see what it is. Right, this bumblebee also has a white tail, but I don't know whether it's going to calm down enough to see. It's got one band and it's just behind its head and its thorax, but also another band either side of its waist. So that makes it a garden bumblebee, and you can see the pollen baskets. In fact, there's a good view of it there. Will it calm down again? Yeah, you can see the one just behind its head and then one in its waist, either side of its waist. So that's a garden bumblebee. Off it goes. Right, there's a wasp there. I'm going to try. I've managed to miss it. Yep, I missed that. You don't always get them. When looking for wasps, it's always a good idea to check along hedges and such, like even if there's no flowers, because they'll be hunting for aphids and such as well to eat, and caterpillars. So you never know when you're going to catch a wasp, sight of a wasp. So always check out hedges. Another good place to look for wasps, in fact there's one just flying through but never stopped, is on wooden fences like this, because quite often you'll find wasps chomping off little bits of wood to take back to the nest to make it bigger. I don't see any just now. There's something down there. Is it a wasp? Is it a hoverfly? Is it a bee? Let's see if we can. Looks like a bee. See if I can get it in here. I can hear it buzzing in there. Right, well, it looks like a honeybee to me. I'm just trying to check its legs. Yes, it's got a bit of pollen baskets in its legs, so yes, a honeybee. Not one of the solitary ones, so off it goes. You'll see I'm deliberately not keeping the anything I capture in here for too long, because it's like a little greenhouse, and where the sun is, I don't want to overheat them. So I just try to ID them and release them as soon as possible. If I was having problems with ID, I might take them in and put them in the fridge and keep them cool, but I certainly wouldn't leave them outside in one of these because they'd just overheat and die. I have managed to capture a wasp. It's obviously quite active, so I'm just going to pop it in the fridge for a wee while for it to calm down so I can ID it. Right, I've just taken these photos of it, of this wasp, and you can see it looks quite dead in photos, but you can see it's just starting to come round after spending some time. So I'm now going to go and ID it. There's a wasp in there. Let's see if I can. Have I got it? I think I have. Another hyperactive wasp, including also a fly. Put them in the fridge. This one here is a tree bumblebee. I can tell because I don't know whether you can see, it's just got a single tiny little dot in the middle of its face and it's just starting to warm up, so I'm going to pop it back in the tub. This one's another tree bumblebee. Look at the jaws on that, and it's just starting to come round, so pop it back in the tub. This is another Saxon, the wee tiny anchor shape in the front. The common wasp has quite a similar shape, but I don't know whether you can see, there's just at the top, behind the antenna, there's a wee bit of yellow there in the head. Common wasp is a lot more, and also those marks in the thorax, there's more yellow on them for the common wasp. So this is another Saxon wasp. Got another bumblebee, another one of the white-tailed variety. This one is the same as the one earlier, bit of a orange yellow band behind the head, and also one either side of the waist, which makes it a garden bumblebee. So I'll let it go. There we go. Right, we've got another white-tailed variety. This one has a band just behind its head, but also its band is just on its body and its rear. It's actually quite a pale band, normally a bit yellower, but you can see there's just pollen sacs just starting to get put on there, so it is a bumble. Just checking, it was a bumble, not a cuckoo. And this one, I think, is a white-tailed. I can't see any buff at all around the edge, so I think it's a white-tailed, but as I said in previous my wildlife year videos, you can't be 100% certain. So that's a third species of bumblebee so far today. This little hoverfly here that I've just caught is called the marmalade hoverfly. It's a very common one. You'll probably have it in your garden if you're in the UK. But it's quite a pretty little one. Hoverflies like this are wasp mimics. There's others that are bee mimics and such, and basically it's just to stop predators eating them, but they're perfectly harmless. Hoverflies don't have a sting. You can tell a hoverfly from a bee or a wasp because hoverflies have huge eyes and just tiny little sort of like things sticking out the front rather than long antennae like bees and wasps. Fourth bumblebee species of the day. This is all ginger with sort of a, I say all ginger, is a sort of slight dark black banding on its abdomen, but yes, it's a common carder. Very nice looking bee indeed. So looking at the front of that face with the anchor shape, that looks like a German a common wasp. However, that little triangular mark on the side there has a straight bottom there, and these marks in the back, the two yellow marks there on the thorax, they're all roughly the same distance apart, so all those suggest it's actually a German wasp, not a common wasp. A lot of German wasps will say, the idea will say that it's, I'm going to pop this on before it flies off, that it's the German wasp has 3 dots in its face, but sometimes they can be quite variable and actually almost look, just the face can almost look just exactly like a common wasp face. So this is a German wasp, so that's us had Saxon, tree and German wasp so far. 2 minutes ago that German wasp is in my hand, and now it's warmed up, and look at it now, and that's it gone. I've caught another garden bumblebee. Now there is a very similar looking species called the heath bumblebee, but you can actually see the garden bumblebee has a very long face. whereas the heath bumblebee has quite a round face, so that's how you can tell them apart. Off you go. Okay, this one also has a anchor in the face, as the German bee did. But if you look at that little triangle there, it's not flat. There's a slight kink in it, and then on the back here, if I can zoom in, can you see the gaps between those yellow markings are actually different, they're not equal. So this one I think is a common. So I've been on and off all afternoon, been netting, back while I remember. This is my new clip-on lens, macro lens. It's a lot bigger than the old one, but it seems to be working quite well. I'm quite impressed with it. So yeah, so all afternoon I've been out and about doing some stuff, but in between it all I've been netting pollinators. So we've had 4 species of bumblebee, which was the tree, the garden, white-tailed and common carder, marmalade hoverfly, and Saxon, tree, German and common wasp as well, 4 types of wasp. So that's actually 4 out of the 8 that you actually find in Scotland. The 9th that's native to the UK is the giant hornet, the European hornet, which we don't get here. And I'm obviously not counting the Asian hornet because it's not not found in Scotland, but also it's not native to the UK, unlike the others. So yeah, so that was quite good going. 9 pollinators with me in between doing some other stuff out in the garden. Pretty pleased with that. One good thing about actually going to Hamilton was I was still able to keep an eye in certain parts of my wildlife as happening here with that little camera there. I was able to see sort of like a family of crows and some sparrows and also some starlings sunbathing. Here's just a wee selection. Right, well, that's it. That wraps up my wildlife here, week 28. Roll on week 29. I've got some stuff planned. I'm not sure whether it's going to come off. One thing I'm thinking about, and this isn't going to be happening next week or the week after, it'll be happening in August sometime, maybe September, is maybe doing a live. I'm not sure whether it'll be a Facebook live or an Instagram live, or maybe I'll do both in different nights. On a, basically taking you on a bat walk. I don't know what people think about that. Let me know in the comments. I'll also be asking on social media what people think of that. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to other stuff I've got lined up, and hope you'll come along and join me for the ride. Right, take care, keep enjoying the wildlife, and see you next week for my wildlife year, week 29.